Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again for another Appalachian Trail community news, thru hiker update, and trail information. Well, fall is in the air. Hadn't started turning here where I'm at in North Carolina, but it's starting to turn all up and down the seaboard, and the next few weeks going to be really neat to see the changes going on here. So I'm excited about that. Getting cooler out there where you got to start taking your winter gear with you, particularly those folks that are up north that are getting ready to summit. And even folks that are subo that are down in Virginia starting to use their winter gear. So looking forward to that. But let's go ahead for what you came here to see, and that's what's going on with the trail out there. So these folks out there on the Appalachian Trail, they're still hiking out there, still sending me in their updates, and that's awesome. Glad to hear it. So Papa Bear, he has made it to Monson, Maine. Rock and Roll is in Pennsylvania. He has already summited, but he is a flip-flopper, so he's working on finishing up his last 950 miles. So still got a ways to go there. Star's making her way through Maine and has got a target date for summiting sometime on the first week in October. The Skogman family, they are Sobo, and they are through the shanties. So I got a picture they sent me of them here in the shanties there, and we got in the pictures North Star, Skipper, Texas Pete, Fish, and Ninja Squirrel. So they're enjoying those waysides and those blueberry shakes there in the shanties. And they say the weather's all fine here, and it's actually getting to feel a lot better at night. They say just last night it was windy and in the low 40s. So now they can enjoy those lower temperature bags that folks have out there. Lilo and Stitch, they're Sobo, and they are almost to the 1,000-mile mark. They say so far so good, and they have entered into New York. We got a new flip-flop out there, Ozoner. He is from New York. He started the trail on September 10th out of Harper's Ferry, so he's heading south. He's a recently retired 55-year-old, and so he's doing what he's calling a biannual flip-flop. So he's going to get as far as he can from September through December, and then he's going out, taking January off. Then he's going to be hitting the Arizona Trail in February through mid-April for an 800-mile warm-up, as he calls it. Then he'll be getting back on the AT and finishing up the Nobo section and going from what he doesn't finish down south. If he doesn't finish to Springer, he'll finish that, then go back up to Harper's Ferry and Harper's Ferry to Baxter and Katahdin, and he'll finish up hopefully in the 12-month requisite requirement there for being known as a thru hiker through the ATC, if that's important to you. Dandelion, she's made it to Baxter and will be summiting probably today. She said there was 43 people in line for a spot at the Birch's campsite, which only holds, I believe, about 10. So the alternative is the Rangers, she said, we're trying to find spots for other people. Some people have been in line since 3 a.m. And so there are other campsites in the park there. I guess they were trying to find some over at A-Ball campground, and then if they can't find them somewhere like that, then your only choice is to go in the Millinocket there and for the night, and then get back into the park for the next day. So, and then also Tennessee, he is back on trail. So Tennessee originally a couple weeks ago went up to Katahdin. He was in the process of summiting. A hiker apparently coming down got hurt, fell. He helped him, I guess, from getting hurt worse, or helped him down. This hiker was severely injured, had to have like 6 staples apparently in his head, but in the process Tennessee hurt his wrist, and so by the time he got him back down, the Rangers would not let him start his hike back up to try and summit that day. And that was also the day when they were getting people off. Well, I believe it was the next day they were getting people off for 70-mile-an-hour winds coming through. So Tennessee didn't have a choice. He had to go back home because of his injury that he had. So he went back home, rested that up, and now he is back up at Baxter, and he's going to be summiting probably today. So Tennessee, I know you're a viewer and your wife's a viewer, so greatly appreciate you helping that hiker out, being a true trail angel and putting your hike off for that. And but we're looking forward to seeing that summit pick up there. And then we got Lost Johnny and Rainbow. They are somewhere around Carrituck, Maine. And they say southern Maine was just as tough as the whites. And they also had as much mud as Vermont, they said. So they're looking to reach Katahdin somewhere around October 7th or 8th. And while they've been on trail, they have the entrepreneur spirit. They've actually started a clothing line called Appalachian Threads. and that's Threads with a Z, Threadz, instead of an S. So you can find them at Appalachian Threads on Facebook and on Instagram. So go and check them out. Might be able to help them out, and might be some merchandise there you like. So good luck to them. Looking forward to their summit. And then we got Iris. She's a teacher in South Carolina. We talked about her last week. She is bringing the Appalachian Trail into the classroom, and she's using it to teach her students math and the lingo of the Appalachian Trail. And so she's developed a system to where each lap around the playground equals so many miles, and so they are actually hiking Bama to Baxter. And so she's enticing them to get out there and exercise and teaching them math and all that neat stuff doing that. So that is awesome. They have also been getting lots of trail magic, people sending in bits and pieces from the trail and pictures and letter. They even got a letter from Nimblewell Nomad. So that is awesome out there. And so they have really enjoyed that. I will leave a place address where you can send her maybe some trail magic that you want to send her, some stickers for the kids or something, or just anything like that, or maybe just a word of encouragement. But so I did want to give their update out there, and so they have hiked 302 miles virtually up on the Pinhoti Trail, and this coming week they'll cross over to the Benton McKay and then do it, and then on up to Springer virtually. So that is awesome. Neat that they are doing that. So be sure to send them flags, maps, whatever. I'm sure those kids will just be thrilled to death to have hikers out there and part of the hiker community get involved with them. And then continue to send me your updates. If you're out there on the trail, continue to send those to me, particularly when you summit. We want to get those summit pics, but also you folks that are still NOBO, not much season, NOBO season left, but we got plenty of SOBO and flip-flop season left. So send those to me. And then also in the next couple of weeks, we'll be starting the updates for the class of 2024. Hard to believe it's here already. So that sign-up list, that support list will be coming out next couple of weeks. So stay tuned, subscribe here so you know, and that's coming out. And of course, 2022 is not done yet, and I said 2024, I meant 2023 will be coming up here soon, and that's what we'll be updating them. And so look forward to getting those started. Got plenty of stuff going on for 2022, folks. Before we get to the summits for this week, if you want to support this channel, you can do that in a myriad of ways. Of course, there's Venmo. I have a Patreon account. You can go and support me through the Patreon account. And then also, there's a feature you may not know about on YouTube called Super Thanks. And it's right below this video down there. And you can go click on that and give a donation of any amount. Any amount helps me to help the hikers out there to continue to do the channel, improve upon the channel, and just get out there and do trail magic for folks, and just do what I can do to help the trail community and to grow and support the trail community out there. It's what I'm all about. If you want to be a part of that, you can just continue to leave your comments and thanks down below. But if you want to be a bigger part, there are ways that you can do that, and I would be grateful for that. Now, let's talk about what's going on with the summits out there. So summits, we got Fireball and Detour. They have summited, and Fireball was hiker number 657 when Fireball started down at Springer, but Fireball finished as hiker number 869 up on Katahdin. So that's awesome. Fireball indicated that they had seen 3 bears, 2 moose, 1 rattlesnake, and 5 million squirrels on their hike up to Katahdin. And some of the most incredible views they had was Klingman's Dome, the Roan Ponies, Madison Hut, and every single lake and pond in Maine. So that's awesome. They had 3 urgent care visits, bug bites, Achilles strain, and plantar fasciitis. I can testify to plantar fasciitis. Their pre-hike weight was 130 and their post-hike weight was 110. They said what they loved best about the adventure was having the opportunity and good health to hike almost every single day. And what they will not miss about the journey was the privies and filtering your water constantly. So appreciate all that Fireball, that rundown. That's awesome to hear. Also summiting, we had Groceries and Roadrunner. They summited. They were NOBO number 929. So that was earlier this week. So by now we are probably over 1,000. They said apparently the NOBO crowds are running thin. because there was only 2 at Birch's campsite. So they must have been in between packs, because we already talked about Dandelion had seen 43 folks in line for the Birch's campsite. And they also said that the hikers before them said it was a bit icy climbing up the Hunt Trail system to get up to Baxter Peak there at Katahdin. So it's going to continue to be that way, folks. So we will see how that plays out for if they wind up shutting down the Hunt Trail system and not allowing people to summit anymore, what if that's going to be early this year or not. But Glacier Road Runner also mentioned that they did the 100-mile wilderness in 5 days, so that's getting it. Little chap, he summited and was number 798. And he had hiked some with my hiking partner come along, and also I met little chap at Trail Days, so it was good to kind of see him and follow him along, get to know him. Mushroom Pink Hot Dog, they have summited. Blue started March 14th and was summit number 795. Pathfinder summited on 9/12 and began down in Amicalola Falls on February 18th. Summited with Amazon, and their summit number was 802. So congratulations to them. And then Flags, who was from the UK and was a thru hiker but got hurt, had some injuries, and he couldn't finish. He sent in that his tramley summited, and his tramley was Best Friend from who was from Germany, Bubbles, who was from Denmark, and Sparkles, who was from the US. Turbo Walking Home started on February 22nd and finished September 9th. So 200 days on the trail, and they were hiker number 706, and they summited with their tramley, and their tramley, who they had been hiking with for 900 miles, and they called that tramley the Teeter Totters, and it was a family of 4: Queen Bee, Day Tripper, Mountain Goat, and Caboose. And she even got to meet my hiking partner come along. So apparently he was pretty popular on the trail this year. So she met come along there at the summit. And then a good friend of mine who I met on the foothills and hiked with us on my inaugural Christmas Great American Bailout Foothills hike, that we'll be doing the second version of it this year, and hopefully won't be dropping the bailout portion of it. But in any case, met her there, and then she hiked with come along for a while on the trail, but she finished as well, and it was great seeing her finish there. So she started from Springer on March 11th, and she was hiker number 1,144 when she checked in, and she summited as hiker number 851. So Disco, congratulations to you. That's awesome. Awful glad to see you up there on that sign. Knew you could do it, and just was cheering you on the whole way. So that is awesome. And then last but certainly not least, Outback, who was hiking the ACT and has been updating us practically every week from Key West, Florida, all the way up to Camp Raven, Newfoundland in Canada, where he finished. So he finished over this past week or so, and that he said he did 5,749.4 miles. So that is awesome. Said his body's doing just fine, no injuries or blisters ever. That is amazing. And he says he could keep on hiking, but he ran out of land. So congratulations to you, Outback, and congratulations to all those folks at summiting and folks that are out there on the trail. Continue to send me in your summit photos and summit pics, and let me know what your summit number was, so that we can include that in our data for upcoming years about how many folks have summited this year, and we'll just keep a running total of that. So looking forward to more and more of you doing that. So some news on the trail there. I had a mother reach out to me who has missing her son. His name is Jason Spell, and he was honorably discharged from the 82nd Airborne and is seemingly suffering with PTSD, but he has been missing since February. His car was found on the North Carolina-Tennessee border at Iron Mountain Gap with all his gear inside. And so she is worried about him. Obviously, it's been a while since he's been gone, but they've got no leads, exhausted any kind of leads that they had. And so she reached out to me, and so I'm reaching out to you. Again, his name is Jason. He's about 5'7", 140 pounds, brown hair and eyes, and he doesn't wear glasses, and he has a large tattoo of wings on his back. So distinguishing looks to his, on his face here, distinguishing looks on his back. So maybe you ran into him somewhere out there on the trail, whether it be in February or last week. It doesn't matter. You might be a hostel owner, you might be a section hiker, a trail angel. Anything would help reunite him with his family back home. And so I'd appreciate that. If you can get in touch with me, would probably be the most expedient method, since I've got a direct line to his mom now. Certainly you could call the authorities as well. So anything that you could do would be greatly appreciated. And then on a better note, some folks that we talked about several months ago that were American veterans that were fighting in Ukraine with the Ukrainians fighting the Russians. They were captured, and that is Alex Druki and also another American, Andy. They're from Alabama, but they have been released from captivity, released as prisoners of war. So that is awesome. That is just great to hear that. And his mom had reached out to me, and his aunt had reached out to me and asked for prayers from the hiker community, and for y'all to reach out to your congressman to try to do what you could to emphasize that please do what they could to arrange for them to be released from captivity. And your prayers and whatever you did worked, along with the Ukrainians and the Saudi government. They brokered a deal and got him, and he is back home now in Alabama. So that is awesome to hear. That is very significant because he was a foreign fighter, and Russians do not treat foreign fighters according to the Geneva Convention. Not that they do anything according to the Geneva Convention, but they consider them mercenaries. And so typically when they're captured, they are given the death penalty. In this case, he has been released. So that is just awesome to hear, and thank you for your prayers and whatever else you may have done, contacted your congressman and stuff. And then another really neat thing that I want to mention is that we are all ambassadors of the trail. I have had more than one person send me in a note that they met my hiking partner come along on the trail, and what a nice guy he was. And this subscriber, Patty, she wrote me and she said, just watched your video of come along summoning Katahdin. I hiked with my son Coltrane for a couple weeks and met come along near Marion, Virginia. He was one of the nicest people I met. If people are like him on the AT, then it is an amazing place. So I can testify that there are plenty of people like come along out there on the trail that are like that. But it just goes to show that when you're out there on the trail, you're an ambassador for our entire community. So you know, you never know what somebody's going through at that time, what type of lift they may need in their spirits. And so be that good ambassador for the trail, be that good ambassador for our hiker community out there, and just be kind to people, look out for people. And then I want to encourage hikers that are out there now that if you have not made it into Baxter or dang near close, that you need to get up there because Baxter could be closing anytime. Typically it's around from sometime between the 15th and the 22nd. Last year they closed on the 21st. They could close earlier just depending on what the conditions are up there. It's starting to get real icy. We've had a couple days when they've pulled people off the mountain and not let them go up because of high gust going on up there. So it's getting to be pretty dicey, and they may be shutting that down any time. So if you're close but you don't think you could get there in a day or so, you might want to consider flipping up and go ahead and getting that knocked out, at least so that you can summit now. And then those in the 100-mile wilderness, the creek crossings are getting difficult because of the hurricane that's come through, and they've had a lot of rain in that area over the past few weeks. So some of them are getting impassable. Do not try to go through those places that other folks have gone through previously when the water wasn't so bad. So some of those are, the water going through, you just don't know what it's capable of doing, and water is very, very strong, and you can die getting caught up in it. So be very cautious, be very careful. It may be that you're going to have to hike some miles either way to get across that somehow. So just keep that in mind as you're going through there. The ATC has put out some specific warnings about some creek crossings up there. They say that the river there at Monson on Nobo mile 2079.8 and in the 100-mile wilderness they've got some problems there that have become impassable. So be careful with that. ATC's also put out some bear cautions for the Double Spring Gap shelter in the Smokies. That's mile 197.2, and Peck's Corner shelter of 218.2. There's been some bear problems going on there, so they put out a caution. They haven't shut those shelters down right now, but they're just saying just be cautious. And then also bear activity at West Mountain Shelter at Nobo mile 1,400.8. They indicated the bear showed no fear of humans and attempted to take hiker food actually off of the bear cable. So those are the warnings that they put out there. Be careful out there. Bears starting to go into hibernation, so they are looking for any way they can to fill their bellies right now so that they can have full nutrition through hibernation. Folks, that's all I've got this week. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.